week. The Web3 community, we had a little bit of a situation at a different conference, and I think the most important thing that we need to take away from all of this is that the Web3 community is strong enough, we are strong enough as people and as a community to put our differences aside, figure it out, and just move forward. So, anybody watching at home, we love you guys. This is a very special panel. I got some dear friends on it and some new friends. So, Adam is going to moderate it. Adam has been a true advocate and champion for people like me in this space for many, many years. And he is going to come up here, kind of give you a little 30,000-foot view of what's going on and the goal that we tried to accomplish today. Because again, this is massive for the Web3 community. We're going to figure it out how to move together. Because we're stronger together, right? All right, Adam, get on up here and take it away. I did want to do this. Little Bruce Buffer. It's time!
First of all, have a big round of applause for Jay Chains. I rate that Bruce Buffer impersonation as a 6 out of 10. You want to try to go for a 9? Should you go for a 9? Come here and try to do a 9.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, it is time!
9.5 or 10? 9? 10? It was a 9. It was a 9. All right, so thank you, Jay Chains. Typically, I'm the guy who comes up here and does river dancing and cracks jokes. If you've seen any of my panels, I'm a goofball. I'm almost like the village idiot in a way. I like to keep anything having to do with social media influencers light and funny and simple, because that's what they do. 99% of the world probably gets their blockchain education from influencers. I don't like the term influencers, so for now on I'm going to use the term educator, because that's what they do. They're educators. Here's the thing. When my car breaks down on the side of the road, I have a flat tire. Learn how to change it? I go to YouTube. If I go to IKEA and get a desk, I have to put the desk up, but the instructions happen to be in Russian, I go to YouTube.
Swedish.
If I'm Swedish, thank you. Jay Chains, he's trolling me already. If I'm a 15-year-old boy being raised by a single mother, I have to learn how to shave my face, I'm not gonna ask her how to do it, I'm gonna YouTube. That's how normal people learn about everything. Because smartphones are mass adopted. If you make less than 40K a year, like a lot of Americans do, you probably have an Android phone. Android's owned by Google, who also owns YouTube. You can't even hack the phone to get the YouTube app out of it. So, when you're in an Uber driver on the way to this convention, and they go, where are you going? Well, I'm going to a Web3 convention. Well, what is that? Well, it's like NFTs. Oh, should I get into that? You totally should, man. It's a way into out of poverty and help you live out your dreams. Well, how do I do it? Well, it's complicated. You know, do your own research, we tell them. You know what their research is? The research isn't like opening up a textbook and learning what proof of work is, or learning the terminology, the difference between layer 1 and layer 2. Their research is open up their phone, goes, what is Bitcoin? How does cryptocurrency make me rich? Why are pictures of apes going for 6 figures? And then they get harassed by terminology they don't understand. What is security? What is a non-fungible token? What is a layer 1 or layer 2? They can't read it, they can't follow. But because Google owns YouTube and they want to keep it on their platform, they put big, colorful thumbnail images at the very top of the search. That are like my boy Cassius here going, and they click that, and I hear it explained to them in words that they understand, and from a relatable human being in 5 minutes or less. And that's how the majority of the world gets onboarding. So, it's pretty important, we have to keep the space safe. The great thing about a true decentralized economy is there is no governing body that oversees all the Web3 community. There's no one saying, you're right, you're wrong, that's misinformation, you're not allowed to get that out there. And we don't cancel each other for disagreements. Instead, we do our due diligence, we do our own research, and then we have disagreements between our own research, we hash it out. And that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna hash out a disagreement. Some short context. A couple days ago at the Decentral convention, we did something called the Crypto Influencer Awards. It's a fun comedy show that we do every year. It was the 5th show. I was dancing, there was backflip, we had a push-up competition, we gave out these replica UFC WWE belts. It was fun. Yeah, just like that. The crowd was into it, they were hooting, they were hollering, they were singing along. My boy Cassius here was supposed to do a rap performance to get off the stage. He wasn't able to do that performance because we had a very serious disagreement between someone watching the crowd and someone on stage, which was BitBoy. And it was such a serious discussion, we had to let it play out. And it played out for about an hour and didn't really get to finish. So we're gonna finish that disagreement today, and hopefully at the end, it's no longer a disagreement. We come to some common ground, and we can work to help better the Web3 space, particularly the educator space, together. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring them up. Coming up first will be the lovely Sonia. Would you like to introduce your support?
Carrie? You want to?
I wasn't completely sure who was coming. This was last minute here. So, due to the nature of this particular panel and the fact that it's pretty impromptu, we're not going to go into a whole lot of background into who we are and what companies we work with, because that's not the purpose of this panel. It's not to represent our companies or our personal ventures. It's to hash out an argument that could help better the space for everyone. But I will let them briefly learn about you. So who are you and why are you here?
I'm Sonia, and I'm pretty sure half of the people here know me. And
Here is Ben Armstrong, better known as BitBoy Crypto. Ben, please tell them who you are and why you're here.
I'm Ben Armstrong. I run BitBoy Crypto. And if you don't know me, then you have not been paying attention the last few weeks. No, I just started in crypto, maybe September.
Hey, Ben, I'm gonna need that mic back. Do you know how we're gonna do this? I'm gonna keep the mics underneath my chairs. That way you each have equal time to talk. Towards the end, I'll give you both mics. But for now, I'm gonna ask a question, hand over to Sonia, then I'm hand over to Ben. That's a question. Ben will go first, you'll go next. So we each get equal time. Do we agree?
oh yeah, I'm fine.
Should we touch gloves?
I would like you to maybe fist bump before we go.
No, that's fine.
I'll do it for you. There you go.
We'll do it from profit.
All right, so anyhow, when I come up the stage, I give you my whole 99% speech, which I do all the time because it's very true. I honestly believe, and I have no factual information back this up, I honestly believe 99% of the world, the mainstream world, my mother, your mailman, your high school buddy, the Starbucks barista that messes up your name in the morning, gets their blockchain education from probably YouTube. It's just how we all end up learning about things we don't understand. In that regard, how important do you think social media influencers, or I call them social media educators, are to mainstreaming the onboard audience? How important are they to Web3 as a whole?
So in 2018, since we're talking about educators, in US alone, $78 billion were invested in academic research. That kind of investment doesn't go in the crypto space. The people who are doing it, the influencers, they are the trailblazers in the space. And when they are the ones who are educating people, the research that they do and their opinions, they matter a lot. Because no matter as much as we say, hey guys, do your own research, how much time does the average person who is trying to get food on his table have to go and do his own or her own research? They don't have the time. And that is when they rely on the educators to educate them and onboard them to a safe space.
BitBoy, how important are YouTubers, other social media educators to the mainstream audience, the normal average Joes of the world?
Well, obviously, if people watch my channel, that's who we're for, the average person. You know, that's why people relate to what I do, because I'm not a nerd. I'm not I'm not into gaming. I'm not into mining. I'm not from a tech background. I'm not from a finance background. The Washington Post actually tried to do a hit piece on me probably about 4 months ago, and it really fell flat because the whole argument was, you shouldn't have a regular guy helping people with this. That was the whole argument, right? They don't understand how tone deaf that is, and that actually the reason why we resonate with people, because I am just a regular person, and things like that. Look, the fact is, I did a poll on Twitter. Like 90% of people get their education from YouTube and from Twitter, and vast majority YouTube, 70%. So I think it's really funny when you have a lot of these people on Twitter that like to attack influencers and stuff like that. Like they're jealous in a lot of ways because the YouTube space is the doorway for people to come in. Guys, video content is everything today. And so, yeah, I definitely think that when it comes to this world of education, that it is extremely important that we have standards for what we are doing as influencers in this space. And that's what we're trying to establish. And I think when you look back, especially when you go back to 2017, in 2017, the model for how creators were making income were pump and dumps and undisclosed videos and ads. That's the world that I came into when I started in 2018 on YouTube. That was the model, undisclosed videos. And so I felt really burned by that. And so we made a real commitment that every single time we ever did anything that was promotional, we made sure to disclose. And that was basically an evolution in the space from the early days when people had no accountability to a higher level of accountability. But what we're seeing now is there's even a higher level of accountability that needs to be made. And that's what we really want to push for, is to make sure we're creating standards, and we're actually working with people in Washington to create some of those regulations around what influencers should and should not be doing when it comes to the crypto space.
That was a good lead-in, because the next question goes straight to that. What do you think your duties are as an educator to the mainstream audience? I know that when we come to these type of conferences and we get locked in our bubble and everyone here is deep into the crypto spirit, we can explain how proof of work is, we can explain the dangers of like margin trading, but everyone outside this audience, or maybe some of the people, maybe the people working the food desk over there, or the lovely people working the bar, that guy's falling asleep. Wow, someone needs to get, hey man, is no one drinking at 11 a.m. in the morning? No, you have no customers? He's looking at his phone. But when he needs to learn, he needs to be on board properly. He doesn't know the terminology, he doesn't know the projects. It's a process, so if they're looking for you as to lead them through that, that is eventually financial prosperity, what are your duties as that mainstream educator? I technically let you talk first, but BitBoy talked so long, I'm actually gonna let you go again.
I'm going to give it to Carrie first, because you are an influencer. So.
Sure, I appreciate it. I think there's a lot of responsibility that influencers have to disclose what their research methods are and how deep that they're going, because people trust you blindly. They expect that you've done the work, and they don't understand what that might mean. And if you get excited and wrapped up a little bit in the hype yourself, which happens, we're human, we're normal people, those people just follow you, and you are responsible for the choices that they make. So that's a pretty heavy responsibility. So there's a lot of time to take to show your process and educate your followers.
Absolutely. I don't go on as an influencer. We are a project that is big time into onboarding people. And even as that, the responsibilities that we think we have to take is, and we are in the NFT space, right? The crypto space is very different from the NFT space. Crypto has been led by institutional investors. NFTs have been led by us. In NFT space, we don't have the big names that came up. NFT space was formed on the backbones of projects like CryptoPunks, CryptoKitties, Bored Ape Yacht Club, taking it to the next level, where people, birds of a feather, flock together. And there is no greater change of force than a community coming together for things that they believe in and they care for. And that's not my statement, it's from Margaret, who is leading the world's but you can go and look her up, Margaret Kelly. So, as anyone who has a voice in the space that is even reaching one person, it's important for us.
I just want to clarify the question because we went long there. I want to make sure the audience knows what are the duties of an educator to their audience from onboarding mainstream audiences.
That's what I was getting at. As a person that reaches out to even one person out there, what you tell to them could not just change their lives, but it could create a butterfly effect and change the life of millions of people around the globe. How many people do you think are on YouTube and on Twitter every day?
I believe YouTube every day. I think everyone from a 12-year-old to a 75-year-old looks at YouTube at some point.
300.
Twitter, usually you have to have an interest in something. You don't go to Twitter to learn how to do something. You go to Twitter to basically go deeper into the interests you already have. But no one raised their hands, so I think the audience needs to get involved. Let's ask it again.
How many people, okay, let's just ask a simpler question. How many people are there on YouTube? 2 billion. 2.26 billion. What is the world's population? 8 billion. 8 billion as of just 2 weeks back. Yeah, there's a guy, who follows stats. Oh, there you go. Yes, the guys who follow stats. On Twitter, we have 451 million. That's about 500 million people. Imagine more than 25% of the world's population is getting their education from YouTube and from Twitter. So as educators, if we are educating them, we have to do a bare minimum diligence of making sure that the information that comes to us is verified by not just one source of truth. We need to go and investigate a few different sources of truth before we go out and say, okay, this is something that I stand by. Because as we have seen in the space, if the project goes down, who is the first one that gets impacted? The person who stood for the project, right?
Well, first of all, I gotta say, I wasn't aware that Carrie was gonna join in the debate. So I want to clarify to the audience, I am a neutral party. I do have a relationship with BitBoy that goes by very, very far. But for this, I'm being neutral. So BitBoy, you are by yourself now versus two opinions. But now, what's the duty of an influencer or an educator, don't like the term, but whatever, educator to their audience?
Well, first of all, do you guys know what's really cringe to me? Like, what's really cringe is the people who think the word influencer is cringe. Like, it's so unbelievably stupid. Like, what? Because Kim Kardashian is an influencer, nobody wants to be one. Well, guys, 87% of kids growing up today want to be influencers. So I love the word, I love what he said there about the word educator. I certainly I prefer to be called a content creator or a business owner or entrepreneur or a YouTuber. Influencer doesn't bother me though. I think the people that love to complain about that, they're losers. It's so unbelievably stupid to me. So I just want to say that, if you don't like the word influencer, I'm sorry, I think you're a loser. So, no, I'm kind of kidding, but I'm really not. I just think we got to get over this. This is an evolution of where we've come in the world to. 87% of kids want to be influencers. Do you know the #1 job kids want? YouTuber. #2, social media influencer. Because there's even more people that want to be YouTubers than just influencers. If you're a YouTuber, you are by nature an influencer. If you're an influencer, you're not necessarily a YouTuber. I hope that makes sense. My 11-year-old son just started his YouTube channel, and he's killing it. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's called All Madden Sports. His name is Madden, and he likes to do sports content. And all of his friends are like, will you please give me a shout out? He's got 600 followers, and they're dying. One of my stepdad's, basically a cousin, one of his cousins through marriage. He's 9, and my son gave him a shout out on a YouTube video, and the mom recorded his reaction. 600 subscribers now. This is not a big channel. And he was like, oh my gosh, somebody mentioned me, a real YouTuber mentioned me. So guys, you have to understand, we're in a changing world. This is not the world of your parents and your grandparents. This is a world today that is changing, constantly evolving. So I want to say that it's very important to understand where we're going in the world. There's only going to be more influencing. Influencing will go long after Kim Kardashian is irrelevant, right? So the fact is, and I always say, like, look, I mean, a lot of us are turning into journalists. We're turning into the real media, which is also another really interesting aspect. So what is our responsibility? Well, number one, you have a responsibility to your audience to do due diligence, to want the best for them, but it's also balanced out by you have to make income to be able to do this, guys. Like, I'm in a place now where I don't have to do sponsored videos. We've reintroduced some sponsored partners, like some exchanges and some stuff, some corporate sponsors. We're trying to get like Monster Energy drink and stuff like that. What's that? Well, yeah, Web2 sponsors. But the reason why we're doing that is I've got 50 employees and we're trying not to be like Kraken and lay people off in a bear market. So I'm very fortunate to where, like, I don't have to make money the way that a lot of people who are just breaking into the space, how they have to make money. Guys, sponsored videos and getting income in when you're working 60 to 80 hours. I worked 20 hours. My wife will tell you this is 100% true. In 2020, from January 1st until September of that year, I worked on average 18 to 20 hour days while I built this. I was tired of being a loser and not having growth. And I was, in 2019, I almost quit. January 2020, I was this close to going and doing roofing. This close, okay? Everything blew up that year, but I put so much time and energy into doing that, like, maybe I deserve to get paid. Maybe I deserve to have money because of the stuff that I was providing to my audience. However, this is a new and emerging space. So, like, I want to go back to due diligence here. A lot of people would look and they would say, oh, because everybody knows the famous video that I did that everybody crushes me over, which is the PAMP video. We were very animated. I'm very animated. I don't know if you can tell. So, like, very enthusiastic. It was a good project. We were paid for that video, okay? They literally changed their smart contract the day the video came out. They were literally planning to scam me and scam my audience from day one. We did the due diligence and they had an audit. Did anybody know that a project could change their smart contract from an audit the day a video comes out? How many of y'all would have known that? Yeah, hardly anybody. Like 3 of you raised your hand. 3 of you, right? I didn't know that. I'm not a developer. I'm not a smart contract developer. But what happened is when that occurred, we now took that new information in, and going forward, we knew that that was an option and we knew to watch out for that. And in addition to that, from that video forward, we never did an anonymous project again because we realized all the anonymous projects were scams pretty much, or 99% of them. And so even in doing due diligence, you can do the best you can do. We turned down 99.5% of projects that came at us during 2020 and 2021. A very small percentage met our due diligence standards. And even within that, we still came into some that turned out to be scams that are completely embarrassing for my record, and I hate, right? So in an emerging space, you learn new information and you move forward and you take it in for the future. What that has led me to realize is we shouldn't be doing token and coin promotion videos, period. We shouldn't be doing NFT promotion videos, period. Why? These are based on speculative prices. Guys, this is something that will get your audience in trouble and you will end up regretting like I do. And I don't want other people to be in that same spot going through. Everybody knows I'm the most criticized person in the entire space. For some reason, I don't know why. I don't know if it's my face, if it's punchable or something, or if it's cringe that I'm an influencer, right? But the fact is, I get so criticized for stuff, but we always try to grow and mature and learn, and we're at a place now where we think we've got closure on what's good and what's not good. But look at all the due diligence that was done by Graham Stephan and Andre Gique and Meet Kevin and Kevin O'Leary when it came to FTX. You can still do all the due diligence, but all the information is not known in an emerging space like this. So we have, to sum up this question, I just really want to hit that due diligence point so much because people are going to attack me and say, we didn't do due diligence on stuff. No, we did the best that we could. I have an entire research team. He knows my head researcher works for Adam. He has been on my team for longer than anybody. He's learned how to vet projects extremely well. But even there's stuff that these projects learn. There's so much darkness and shadow and manipulation in the background of this stuff. when it comes to these teams, when it comes to the developers, when it comes to the serial scammers, the serial rug pullers. That's what needs to be exposed, and it's hard to expose because they do it in the background in an anonymous way and you can't tell who they are. So the most important thing is responsibility to your audience. And when, I would just say this, when you are doing anything that makes money for your channel, you need to be looking forward and you need to be saying like, is this something that I will regret one day? Or are there some black swan type events around this that could get me in trouble? And when you think about that, well, a black swan by nature you don't know, but like if you look at Celsius or you're promoting exchange, like we have an exchange partner now, BitGet. We always tell our audience like, hey, centralized exchanges still are a necessary evil for liquidity. This is the exchange that we think is good, but still don't keep all your money on there. Like still going overboard with that kind of stuff. Don't tap me out, madam.
Need that mic back. So to wrap that up, from my understanding, so the normal audience, they're gonna find their way to YouTube eventually. It's just the normal human process right now. With smartphones being mass adopted, everyone having them, people go into Google for things, and when they can't figure out, they go to YouTube to watch it. They're gonna get there eventually. And that's how mass adoption happens. Now, in that regard, you have some people who have dedicated their lives to educating the masses, educating the normal human beings of the world, your average Joes. And that's how mass adoption happens. Some of the problems that they're facing is, it is an emerging space. I mean, the year NFT was 2021. Most people didn't know that there was NFTs as existed in 2017. Metaverses are coming, DAOs are up there. It's an emerging space and mistakes happen. You have to, the argument here is it happens, you have to forgive and let them evolve and share those secrets of how it happened, be transparent of how the scam happened or how the mistake happened so everyone can evolve and learn so it doesn't happen again. But what can happen is just canceling that educator. He appeals to a wider audience. And what's happening is every time an educator talks about anything, they're accused of being a shill. Every time they're accused of being a shill, you shilled Celsius. Well, we didn't know Celsius was a scam. You shilled FTT. What's the coin for FTX? FTT? FTT. Well, I thought it had some promise, and FTX went bye-bye. Whenever you accuse them of being a shill, you hurt mass adoption because you're saying, hey, you need to quit. You made a mistake. You need to stop now. But if everyone just stops after a mistake, all the educators are gone. They don't evolve. BitBoy here, in particular, some of the others, have put a lot of time and effort into developing studios with employees that have work schedules, and that comes over time. If he had quit in 2020 or after the first mistake, that studio never would have happened. The vetting team never would have happened. The skills that go to other YouTubers to help them not make the same mistakes to the rest of the world, the average Joes of the world. My mother, my mailman can come to YouTube or TikTok, wherever, and learn how to get into cryptocurrency. Wouldn't have happened. So when we just accuse them of shilling every time they talk about a token that happens to, explode, you're actually hurting mass adoption. So in that regard, what do you think about calling people shills? When people make mistakes, when influencers do take on a project that ends up, deteriorating over time, what should they do? What is your opinion? Should they just be called a shield or canceled? Should they keep working through her? What should happen?
So, I love to ask questions, as you guys have figured out. How many of you here have an NFT project? Quite a few folks. How many of you have been approached by influencers who are like, hey, we want to talk about your project and let's take this to the moon? Many? How many of those influencers asked you questions about your project? No one? Just one person? When we're saying influencers or educators, that's in the NFT space today, what we're seeing is a repeat of what happened in 2016, 17, and what happened at the peak of the bull market again. We keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. The NFT scams, it rose by a glorious 175% from 2020 to 2021. More than 1 billion was swindled in crypto scams, and this is FTC data. Out of that, over 100 million was because of NFTs. People rug pulling projects. How many of you here have an Azuki or you know about the Azuki story? Many folks, right? And this is a guy who has been scamming people over and over and over again. When you are an influencer, my thought is that you have a voice that the average person can connect with. Let me ask you one question, right? How many of you here are investing in crypto and NFTs? Many people. How many of you use NFTs and crypto, or let's just say crypto, right, for day-to-day transactions? A few folks. What was Bitcoin's promise? The first white paper? To replace traditional finance by NFTs. Even now, because we are talking about shilling, we are talking about promoting something, the only thing that we're focused on is you are investing in a high-risk asset, and this asset could grow overnight. We are not thinking about people who are sitting in Africa, in some of the most corrupt countries in the world, where DeFi could actually topple over their centralized finances. Where, how much is the average annual income of the poorest country in the world? The average per capita GDP? Less than $300, $270 for Burundi. And there are over 24 countries in the world where the average citizen makes under $1,000 per year. Talk about onboarding those people to decentralized finance so they can break from the corrupt governments that control the entire flow of money. If we are bringing them here and they end up getting scammed, they lose their livelihoods. They don't lose the money that they're investing in. NFTs are being advertised as investment vehicles. NFTs are not investment vehicles. We all know that. And you know, when the influencers come to you, a lot of the influencers who have approached us, and I'm sure a lot of people in the audience would resonate, the only due diligence they do is, can you pay me a ETH or 2 ETH?
I don't think those are real influencers. Right? I do think influencers, we are people and we make mistakes. And we should be forgiven for those mistakes. We get wrapped up into a project that we are passionate about, and we can be fooled as well. And so when we come out about that and we say we made this mistake and this is what we learned, I think that shows humility, and I think it shows that you are here for your audience.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
So I just wanted to clarify, we got to define the term influencer here now. I know that BitBoy made fun of me earlier for calling him educator. One of the reasons I say that
I don't make fun. I don't make fun. I mean, I just think it's silly that everybody has pushback against what we are. Like, we literally have influence. It covers different social media. Look, I am an educator. I'm turning into I like to call it, give me the information or I'll start a Twitter space as journalist. But, I just think the word influencer, like, it's okay. It's not a bad word. We got to get over this idea. It's cringe. Like, if you think it's cringe, you're cringe.
I don't disagree with you, but the way she used it influencers, any just random DJ, anonymous DJ on Twitter or Discord, hitting you up your DM and saying, hey, I'll promote this. Look at my Twitter. I have all these I have 15,000 on Twitter, all scam bots. Give me money, I'll shill your stuff. When I say educator, I mean a guy like MineYourBiz there, Cash Cuvée, Tom Crown, even Taco over there, man. Even Player One Taco. What they do is they dedicate their lives to this. They vet things, they learn throughout, they communicate, and they put it out there responsibly. And when something does go wrong, they take the mitigation steps necessary to make sure the audience doesn't get completely smashed. That includes, hey, this token is no longer good. I better delete all the videos where I tell people to buy it because I don't want them to buy it anymore. And that seems to be an issue in space too. It's almost like politics. If you're left or right, you have to ride or die it. You're not allowed to switch sides. That doesn't make any sense. Based off of doing due diligence and doing research, which is what educators do, what the influencers you're talking about do not do, you find things wrong with things. I mean, you find things wrong that, oh my gosh, I've been riding and dieting, I don't know, Terra Luna for the last 2 years, but now I know it's gonna collapse. I have to delete all those videos, apologize, and let them know, hey, no more Terra. They can't, but what we like in the space is tribalism, where we just want everyone to no, you are XRP Army forever, BitBoy. You're not allowed to change. You have to ride and die. You have to go down with the ship. But why do they have to go down with the ship? Their job is to educate the masses. Their job is not to shill a particular project. So I'm asking you, Sonia, what should they do? Are they allowed to change their opinions? And also, I didn't really get your response to what should happen when for the educators. It sounded to me like you just don't want, this is my opinion, it sounded to me like you said influencers come to you and like, hey, I don't do my research, I'm just gonna shill you, give me money. So you wanna rid that, you wanna get rid of that, correctly? But you don't wanna get rid of all educators, because that's how people learn. All the people all the impoverished people from around the world where cryptocurrency could help stabilize their governments and lead them out of their terrible situations they were born in, they need to learn how to use this stuff. How do they learn? I didn't quite get what you were going for with the all influencers are in my DMs.
So not all influencers are in my DM. The influencers who, and I also don't think that all the influencers, because there are some good folks out there, right? By the way, when I talk about influencers, you said that I'm just referring to the D-chain influencers who are just out there to shill. Each and every person out here, everyone here, those who don't even identify as social media influencers, we are influencers. You end up influencing buying decisions in your family. You end up influencing your friends. That's why, in the beginning, I said that every life that you touch could have a huge impact. So it's not about just going out there and, that I don't see the point in even trying to say that, hey, we have an educator and then we have an influencer. An influencer is fine, influencers have their opinion. Giving out their opinion, that is great. The culture that we have to cancel out though is where people do not do research. They are just motivated by greed alone. And that culture of greed has taken down Web3 adoption. When Mt. Gox happened, and that was an influencer scams, what suffered? Bitcoin suffered, going down from $800 plus to $300. When Luna Terra collapsed, what happened? The entire crypto suffered. We are nowhere even close to recovering from it. Why are NFTs so low now from the highs of Jan? All the rug pulls and scams that have been reported. But what happens is the people who are out there doing good, they are the ones who get impacted. Because the scammers, they take their money and they go away. Okay, now can you change your opinion about a project? Absolutely. Come out and do that before people start calling you out. So, if I am going to be, if I'm going to go ahead and, but I'll complete it and I'll come back to you. So if I'm going to go out, right, and if I'm going to go out and change my opinion, right, I'm going to take down the videos and stuff, I go out and say, okay, this is a shit show that happened and this is what happened. However, I also feel that in 2017, the SEC cases against Ian Ballina, it's not for what happened now, it's for what happened in 2017 and 2018. We have already seen the scams, and even BitBoy said that, he has seen the scams, and I'm pretty sure even you learned, right? Even you must have lost money on those scams, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so in 2020, 2021, with NFTs, and again with the crypto peaks, to see people doing the same shit over and over again, that's heartbreaking. Why haven't we learned our lessons from the scams that were already promoted in 2016, 2017, where the influencers, the educators, them promoting everything, and without doing the due diligence, was what led to crash. And now, we are, again, a lot of people are not doing that. I'm not saying that every person promoting something is not doing it, but a lot of people are not doing that. And the lack of accountability and responsibility. It's again, we hear people say, oh, I was giving the wrong information by the founder. We know that it is. If somebody is out there to scam you and scam the audiences, they are going to give you the wrong information. They're not going to tell you that, hey, we are here to scam people.
How can you?
So what I was...
So I want to know, Adam, if you could just let us talk, it'd be great. Listen, here's the situation, okay? If what you're saying is true, and I believe to some extent there's definitely truth to what you're saying, is that if you're talking to founders, then they're giving you the wrong information. then how in the world are you supposed to ever be able to make a good decision on a project to promote? And that's why, once again, I believe nobody should promote NFT projects. I believe nobody should promote coins or tokens. But if the founders are lying, then what situation, like, where does that put us? Yeah, I really want to hear her answer that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Adam, I love you.
Wait, 1 second. So,
You're just too long-winded, Adam.
It's not meant to be, Adam.
Yeah,
what I was saying is, we're at the point in the conference. It's time to give them both microphones. That's what I was trying to say. That's what we want, right?
Give her a microphone.
Please.
I love you, Adam. Give the people what they want. Is this on? That's a scam. This one also does not work.
Just turn on.
Guys, this one's working. Go ahead. So I'll let you answer.
So with FTX, for example, right, it wasn't just everybody was fooled there. So honestly, when people say that, oh, somebody was promoting FTX, Sequoia, Paradigm, if they could fail, and they had over $250 million invested in FTX, right? You don't expect any average person to learn about that. But when a project has no due diligence done, right? You don't even know who are the investors in that project. The founders are the only ones talking to you, right? It goes back to, let's just talk about the startup world. How many, in 2020, when the dot-com crash happened, there weren't any Twitter spaces and there weren't influencers. What happened at that time? The same thing. Phony companies coming and listing themselves up there. What did that lead to? A lot of the investors started doing their due diligence. To today, when you look at startup founders as well, what you're betting on is, what is the history of this guy? In NFT space, in the crypto space, a lot of the times, unfortunately, behind the shroud of anonymity, people even hide that information. The shroud of anonymity allows an equitable platform because you wouldn't care if a person is coming from Somalia or from US, but unfortunately, many people have actually used it to hide behind it and hide their intentions.
Yeah.
And if we at least were to dig there, that hey, you're talking about billions of dollars, you're talking about making people millions of dollars. What have you done in the past to even promise that? Can we at least do that?
I think what's really important to understand is that, number one, it sounds like you get when you're DMs. I still, to this day, get over 100 requests to promote stuff a day. Easily. A day. Okay? Constantly, projects are always, hey, will you look at this? Guys, I guarantee you, if I went over here and stood in the corner, it would only take probably about 10 minutes for somebody here to come show me something. I see it not. My life is a giant pitch, and I hate it. That's the thing. If you want to take pictures with me, you want to say, well, other than that Count Chocula guy. If you want to take pictures of me, I love that. I want to talk to you, I want to know about your life, I want to know about your investments, that's great, but please don't shill me crap. That's not what I'm here to do, okay? We created a 2-page document that every project that we entertained had to fill out completely with stuff that we could cross-check and cross-verify. There are people out there doing their due diligence. What I'm telling you is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you do your due diligence or not. You shouldn't be doing it because there's no way to here's a great example. It's so crazy how I get so crucified for 9 projects over a 2-year period out of 300 that we probably covered. Counting the non-promotional videos, probably 2,000 projects that we covered overall. There's 9 of them that there were probably some issues with, okay? I get crucified for this. We did due diligence. Each one, if you go, I did a 160 tweet thread. It was 8 different threads responding to all of Zach's accusations against me, explaining every single methodical step on what our thinking was when we were scammed, times we made a mistake, yada, yada, yada. But the point is that there really is no way to do the best due diligence on this stuff, and we've been crucified. One of the projects that we covered, I'm not going to say the name, people say, why do you delete videos or projects that are scams? You're an idiot. I'm sorry. If you have questions about me deleting videos of literal scams, where I literally tell people how to go exchanges and buy scams, then you're dumb. You are really low IQ. Of course I'm going to delete a video that had a path for someone to go buy a scam. What kind of idiot are you if you're going to attack me for deleting those? They're on the internet. You can freaking find them if you want to. People screenshotted the videos, but I have a responsibility to my audience, if something's a scam, to remove it. Like, let's use a little common sense, people. That's where, like, Zach that says a lot of crap that's stupid. He does a lot of good stuff in the space, but when he has takes like that, he really just shows he doesn't understand the narrative that he's pushing. So the fact is, there's a project that we covered, I won't say the name. Binance literally retweeted them. CoinMarketCap literally listed them as one of the best up-and-coming projects. And in our due diligence and our research, that factored in. When you have the biggest exchange and the biggest analytics platform that's owned by that exchange saying, hey, we're excited about this one, that factors into your research. But guess who did not get criticized one time for that? Binance and CoinMarketCap. Who got 17 videos made about them? Me, right? So the level of accountability goes much higher than just influencers. Cointelelie, okay? That's what I call it. I think maybe the ladies here, the editor-in-chief of the biggest scam journalist front of all time, created by Bitcoin miners in Russia to push the narrative of Bitcoin. It's the only company you can look up in the beginning of crypto. You can't figure out how it started. It's the biggest. It's number one. It's over CoinDesk. The biggest crypto media publication that exists. The CEO is a 1099 employee, and you can't figure out how they started. Guys, they do $10,000 press releases over and over and over and over and over and over again, and no one holds them accountable. Why? Because they don't have a face, and I guess my face is punchable, and so they want to come after me. So the fact, thank you. So the levels of accountability in this space, it needs to be much higher. But at the end of the day, and I just want to ask you a question. Have you ever paid an influencer to promote your project at all?
Have I paid an influencer
Yes.
to promote our project? Except for running 2 Twitter giveaways. None.
What was the accept?
I'm sorry?
There was an accept there. You said accept for?
Oh, except for running 2
Through influencers.
2 Twitter giveaways for influencers for our project. That's about it.
And they were paid for that?
I paid them.
Okay,
I paid
okay.
them for that.
So, my whole thing is not to attack Sonia and attack this project. I don't know anything about this project, to be honest with you. Which, by the way, somebody took your website down and put Bitcoin rules on it. Whoever did that, please fix that. You don't support me by attacking Sonia, just so people know. And I would really appreciate if whoever did that would fix that. I don't think they're probably in the audience and maybe live streaming, but that's unnecessary, okay? But the fact is that I think even that has to be stopped. And I'm not saying you did anything wrong by doing it. I understand that there are good projects out there that want to put out their marketing, but we've got to get to a place where people stop looking at the dollar signs when they create projects, when they create NFTs. That's all that happens. Look at the biggest NFT projects in the space, okay? Now, I don't know if Bored Apes, I don't know if they did any kind of marketing, I'm not sure about that. But I do know CryptoPunks, I don't think they did any marketing, right? I don't think they paid marketing. Is that incorrect? Does anybody have a fact check on that? That's correct, okay? Was, until Bored Apes took over the space, the biggest NFT project out there, zero marketing. Look at the top projects in crypto. Cardano, I love when people say Cardano has paid shields. Cardano literally does not have a mechanism to pay people for promotion. It literally does not exist. So Cardano, Ethereum promoted their ICO, but they do not do paid promotions for the resale of their coins. XRP, same thing. They had promotion of their token sale. That's why the SEC is actually going to end up going after. But they don't pay influencers, okay? Now some of these projects do have some workarounds for some creator funds where it's transparent and people can get funds to create an NFT project on a blockchain. I think all that's totally fine. But when you really look across the space and you see the NFT projects and you see the crypto projects that have paid for promotion, they freaking flop. Freaking build something and build a community. It's freaking hard work. That's what needs to happen in this space, and that's how what Sonia's talking. Even though I do totally disagree that the crash was caused by the 4-year cycle we see every 4 years when it gets overhyped and it comes down. But I do think there is an element of truth to that because, like I talked about yesterday, if you were at the other conference, or 2 days ago at the other conference, where you have 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. That's what we've been making. If we can move to a place where we're taking 3 steps forward and 1 step back, that will still be a tremendous amount of growth for the space. But the idea that all these projects want a shortcut. They want to look and they want to say, oh, I want to create an NFT. How can I make money here? Okay, let me get on a 2-month track instead of a 2-year track. And that's something we've got to get out.
That's exactly what I'm saying, right? That you have projects who are literally rug pulling, and then all the people around that project who are supporting it. And this is literally even Twitter verified profiles, which before Elon Musk's epic, hey, everybody gets a blue check, and you just
get a check. You get a check.
Yeah, everyone gets a check. Before that, right, you would actually have verified profiles being sold on secondary markets. You pay $500, $5,000 for the verified profiles, depending on the age and the number of followers, and you use that to promote scams, right? And you're right, 2-month roadmap, 2-year roadmap. However, as I said, the entire NFT space especially, it's not institutions that are running it, it's us. Where are you going to find that information? It's through these resources that you find the information. And what happens is, in the scams that we are creating, anyone who comes up and says, oh, I have a verified profile, let me come and promote your project, and they're not doing that due diligence, that number is much, much, much higher than people who go and say, can you answer 20 questions about your project?
So I feel like there's a slight confluence of words. Educator and influencer. That was a very good one.
Oh God, he's so late.
And I felt that power drop like a superhero.
It's like the anvil from Mario Brothers. Go ahead.
So I feel that when you're using the word influencer, you're not using the correct term all the time. Educator, correct? And if we want to go farther, we're looking at teachers as educators that are influencing our children, they're influencing ourselves. So yes, that is the correct term. Influencer, where your face is shown or where you're obviously swaying people's opinion, yes. When people are coming to you in your DM saying, hey, for $200 worth of ETH, I'll talk about you, that's not an influencer. It's someone who promotes himself as one, but they're a scammer. And I think we need to, keep using the term influencer, and I think we need to, there's a scammer, influencer, educator, and it's all.
Well, it's hard to know the difference, but obviously there's some of us that have moved to a higher level of influence, right? Where, you look at the top YouTube, Altcoin Daily, Wendy, obviously we don't need to be checked, people know who we are, you don't need to verify we have influence, people know that we have it. But when you're looking at some of these smaller accounts, look, you should be very wary of an influencer that reaches out to you. Now, at one time, which people love to crucify me on my media sheet that every other significant influencer in the world has. Which, by the way, I was on a podcast yesterday. We were $30,000 for a video. You guys realize to get on what I was told yesterday, get on the Tim Ferriss podcast, it's like 6 figures, right? So, what is the number? What's the number that people would have been good with me not being crucified over? But the fact is, when people have teams that are reaching out to you, you should be concerned about that, because they're literally just telling you hey, I don't know what your project is really, but we want you to pay, I want you to pay me because I have some followers. And there is a generation of influencers that are growing on TikTok, and I would just say TikTok mainly, that's the main place to be very careful about some of these influencers rising up there. A lot of them are young, they're Gen Z, they don't really know what they're doing, and they're just looking for money, and $200 is probably a lot of money to some of those people. So I think you have to be very careful when people are reaching out to you. Now, what would be probably okay, I'm never going to do another token, coin, NFT promotion video, ever, even if we work on this legislation, it comes out and says there is a way to do it correctly, I'm never going to do it. I do think, though, that if you have someone in your community that's in your Discord that is sold out and is talking about it organically all the time and loves your project, there could be some synergy there, because they really know what you're doing and they really support what you're doing. That would be the one place where you could potentially look to do some kind of promotion, and you reach out to them, they don't need to reach out to you. That's better.
So this panel is following the correct format. only this is the time where I'm supposed to hop in the crowd, not hurt my knees this time, and take some Q&A. So if you do have a question, raise it.
Did you have a response? I want to hear your response.
Yeah, before that, you mentioned in the beginning, right? The Gen Zers and also the Gen Alphas. They are the ones who are going to take up influencing as a career. And the millennials who are doing it today, we have to do it right so they understand what are the right footsteps to follow. I don't want to say that, hey, influencer marketing is bad, because it's not. It just has to be done in the right way, because what you need to understand is the lives that you're impacting, guys. You know, the Gen Zers, when they pump a project, you have their, you mentioned about your son, right? Your son, his friends are following him, right? And anything he sees, they are fanboying over your son, right? And when you have people who actually put you on that pedestal, you are someone they're worshipping. Be good to them.
Absolutely, totally agree.
Hi, my name is Mary Beth Salas. I am a social audio host and a public relations professional. So I had one of those checkmark things a long time ago, right? And it wasn't until Web3 we're like, why do you have a checkmark? You know what I mean? And then, like, are you getting paid for this? I go, yeah, why wouldn't I be, right? And it wasn't until Web3 when I saw that getting paid for my services was a bad thing. So for someone who works in this space and is performing services professionally, how do you navigate, like, I'm not apologetic, right? Yes, I do get paid for these spaces. Yes, I do get paid to do, a form of marketing. But how do you, and by the way, I spend days. I will pull Westlaw on people, for their backgrounds. I will, it's like, it's like a full-time job trying to get a full-time job or another opportunity, right? And people have no idea how much research you have to do. So I was wondering, is there a more efficient way to navigate in garnering these opportunities?
Well, first and foremost, if you're on social media and you're getting paid, people are going to attack you, period. That's just something that people have to get used to and you have to understand. And it's unfortunate and it's sad, but one of the reasons why that is because everybody wants to do what you're doing and not everybody gets to the level where they can get paid. And it's really pathetic that they attack people for stuff like that. I really learned something when, I don't know if anybody remembers, there was a thing, I used to be huge on TikTok. I had 3 million followers until freaking my account got hacked and then TikTok wouldn't give it back. But there was a guy, I think his name was Ryan Shield. Does anybody know who this guy is? Okay, this guy did a marketing campaign, and he didn't say it was a marketing campaign, where he put a cardboard cutout of himself inside of a gas station. You remember, right? A cardboard cutout, and he called it like, maybe it was Kyle, like the Kyle Shield meal at 7-Eleven, or no, it was a come and go gas station. But anyways, I digress. So he puts it in there, and what happens is people find out about 3 weeks after this thing went super viral that he worked with a marketing team and made it look like organic. People don't trust influencers, period. And it's a really sad thing. And that had nothing to do with crypto. It had nothing to do with money. It was just a guy on the internet who got a big following and worked with a company and didn't disclose it. So a lot of the hate that you get from that, it comes from people being burned over time. And hopefully that's some stuff that we can weed out by being more transparent. But if you're doing services, you shouldn't have to apologize for that. If you're doing marketing, you should not have to apologize for that. But you have to, if anybody wants to know how to handle attacks on the internet, you can talk to me and I will tell you. I think most people would know that sometimes I feel like I'm the most attacked person on the internet. But obviously that comes and goes for some people. But the point is that the only thing I'm telling people is, if there is a price that is speculative, that is tied to what you're promoting, don't do it. You're gonna regret it. You're always gonna regret that. And I know influencers are rising up, and it's easy to do because those are the most low-hanging fruit and they pay the best. But just trust me, from somebody on this side of it now, you're going to regret it. The short-term money to feed your family, that's necessary, but I would say do it in a different way. Like if you're promoting a hardware wallet or an exchange, or a course or an academy, or I know leverage trading gets a bad rap. I turned 80,000 into 1 million live last year. You can win, you can do it if you use proper risk management. And of course, once again, don't keep all your money on the exchange, right? So some of the things like that are okay, but it's just, I'm telling you, this world of being able to promote NFT projects and coins, it's going away in the current format. The way that it's going to be legislated in the next year, it's going to take away a lot of the motivation for people to do that. And I think that's going to be a really, really, really great thing. So I hope that answered your question from my end. Yours, Sonia?
No, I just wanted to say thank you very much. And for anyone else who's in a similar position, never be apologetic for doing something professionally or just getting paid for your services.
And a huge shout out for you because you spend most of your time doing the research before you go and promote anyone. So you know exactly where we all are coming from. That hey, do your research.
Awesome. So Seth, I run a channel called MineYourBiz, and I also work with a lot of the influencers that are being questioned and who are here in the audience. I've got a belt too, so apparently I've received recognition lately. It's not a big deal, right? We're all just humans. My question is actually for Carrie. We haven't heard much from you, but you're on the stage. So my question, which I think will be coming from you a little more impartial, what's the road to redemption? What does it look like? Everyone's out to cancel. We've heard it on stage even. We need to cancel this. You heard. What's the road to redemption? I'm really interested in knowing what the path to redemption is for people because it's very easy to cancel and it sounds like it's very hard to forgive. So how do we fix all this?
I personally think it's about that transparency, about being open and honest about our own mistakes, right? If we come into something that was unexpected of a project, that we didn't look deep enough, that we got duped, we found a mistake, someone fooled us, that we tried, we did our due diligence, but something happened. It was so well hidden that we just didn't find it, right? Or we trusted that person. We just have to be open and honest about that and ask for forgiveness of that. That we are here working very hard and we live through the integrity of what we bring. And we try to do that by showing that through our work. I think that's what we have to give. We have to give forgiveness. As Big Boy said, this is an emerging space. We are learning together. This is unprecedented. We don't know how to manage. We don't know how well hidden things can be. It's so difficult and confusing, and when you get into a company and they have 15 different shell companies, and then you dive deeper and you start to unmask it and you're like, oh God, I just didn't know what I was getting into. So you just have to be out there and have humility. I think that's the road to redemption, is to have humility and say, I made a mistake, I'm human. And if you don't want to forgive me, that's your choice, but I'm here to put it all out there for you and just say, we all make mistakes sometimes.
Does Adam not look like he needs to be in front of a fireplace on a bear rug?
I took a picture of this morning, and immediately all the YouTubers sent me pictures of The Rock. And here's the thing: we went over the trial and tribulations of educated masses. What we do know is that normal human beings will eventually end up on YouTube and other forms of social media to get inducted into space. So we have to keep it safe. We have to police it. We have to hold each other accountable. I think the fact that we're all here and in Miami, particularly for the Path to Central events, and some guys had to go home, is kind of proof that we police the space and hold people accountable. We were about 30 of us together, completely doxxed, talking tips and tricks. They're not out there circling around like the Legion of Doom, thinking of how to scam. They're out here to learn and share their tips and get advice from everyone else and improve. So, with that said, how can we work together to make the space safer for everyone and onboard the world into the crazy Web3 shenanigans?
Influencer boxing matches.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I think.
Let's stand up for this one. Let's all stand up for this one. Come on.
Are we standing up?
I'm the one hopping up the stage.
You tell me and Adam are old friends. I don't know if you can tell.
Well, first of all, I think influencers who are big in the space, right, including everyone, including BitBoy, you need to put out this is my request, please put out content for other influencers and also for the masses to know which influencers not to follow. In the sense, like, if the influencer is just asking you for money, stay away. You have the voice, you have the reach. Educate the masses on which influencers to interact with, and educate the influencers on what are the right things to do. We are so caught up in justifying our own actions that we, as an educator, remember it's not just about saying that, hey, this is Web3. It's also about influencing the people who are following in your pathway to not repeat the same mistakes that you might have ended up doing. That is important. And we have to be very careful when we are sharing any information. So for example, it's very easy to set up a website that says Orbis 86, but our website, it's still up. It's not being taken down. The website is fine. So it's very easy for people to create fake accounts, pull them down, and we have to make sure that the information that we are sharing, it goes out there and is consumed correctly by the people. Because it's very easy to scam people, and as influencers, let's teach them how not to get scammed and also come to Web3 with the right spirit of building together, not scamming each other. Let's build! Woo!
Yeah, look, the world of slam content and trying to pull other YouTubers down, that's a very difficult world to get into. I would rather lean into what we do, which is showing the roadmap for how things should do things, how people should do things the right way, and then people can make up their mind and see that, and see the people that are doing the right way and are not doing the wrong way. Because obviously, as a person that's attacked more than anybody, like, for me to go, look, I don't mind going after Sam for sure. We know that scam. If something is a proven scam and you can nail it down, but it's hard to know the motivations of somebody, of whether they're willfully doing something bad or not. Now, over time, if someone develops a track record and things can be proven, then certainly some of that stuff should be called out. But I think I would rather go on the positive side and show people the roadmap. That's why we did a video about a month ago, I guess, or 3 weeks ago, where I explained my viewpoint on this. And I apologize for doing sponsored videos on coins and tokens. And I'm trying to lay out a roadmap for people to follow so they don't end up where I'm at, where they're having to atone for mistakes that people assume. And I understand why people would assume that we maliciously did things, because you look at a price of a token and after we do a video it drops. But guess what? That's because the team is on the back end doing it. And so trying to expose that, what's actually happening on the back end, and for people to see that to me is very important. And I really, like, me and Adam had a talk before I did that video, actually, because he runs Viral Nation, obviously a promotion business. And we had a talk about a month ago before I put that video out, and I explained my viewpoints, a long talk, and why I really want to push forward this idea that this is not the route for people to go. And I'm not going to sit out here and call people out that still do them, but I do want to have people understand it's not a good business model. And I think that's where my responsibility comes in, because I've walked that path of making the mistakes, and there's nobody better suited to tell people what's coming and to warn them than I am. Let's build.
I have a wrap up. I have a wrap up. Thank you to our old friends, brother. Thank you.
So when I grab the microphone, it's just
Thank you for being brave enough to come up here too. And Carrie, thank you for taking the initiative to make this panel on, like, I don't know, what, like 11 hours notice. I have something to wrap up, but I want you to go ahead and speak to your audience, because this is your conference.
Thank you, everyone. I want to thank you both for doing this and showing that this is exactly what this conference is about. Creating this safe space where we can all come together to have these difficult conversations, but to give space for everyone, right? And that we're really here for the same purpose and the same mission. We are here to build. We are here to educate people about blockchain technology and to change the world, right? Ultimately. And I love that we could do this in this space, right? Where passions are not, intensified, and we have this really comfortable moment where we can just have thoughtful conversations. So thank you both for coming today.
I'm going to wrap this up and bring it back to the beginning. It is my personal opinion, and I do believe it's somewhat relevant. I think the vast majority of normal human beings, average Joes, get their blockchain education from places like YouTube, influencers, educators, tomatoes, cringe, whatever. And I think for us being insiders, trying to take them down and stop them from doing that is not the way to go. That's how you stop mass adoption. The way to go is to get together with many diverse opinions in the space, talk and hash it out. Doesn't always have to be on stage at 11 hours notice. It could be, in the lobby or over a bowl of cereal or whatever Ben has for breakfast.
Did you say a bowl of cereal?
It came to mind.
Did you put milk in that?
You said Count Chocula. It was Halloween recently.
Count Chocula.
I have a steel box. You want to tell what that Count Chocula thing? You want to tell that story? You reference it twice. No one knows what you're talking about.
No, who knows what I'm talking about? Yeah, so a lot of people don't know. Look, guy took a picture with me. He was begging for a picture as I was walking out the door.
That was awful.
Yeah, thank you. He took a picture and then he was like, I was wearing an Alexander McQueen shirt. He's like, big boy wearing a mid-tier designer shirt, walking around like a sycophant looking for attention. So
And a band of something, right? Like
yeah, the group of people with me that they're obviously also looking for attention. Which I don't know if you've ever seen me walk through the main lobby of a conference. Like I'm not looking for attention. I'm trying to get to the exit, and it's very difficult sometimes. But he made this, and then of course, somebody said something about him, and I realized he looked like Count Chocula. So I will say this: a little. He does. His boss told me that he would fire him if I wanted him to get fired. I've said no, I don't want that. But I will say this: there's a video coming later today on the internet. Count Chocula may make an appearance, and it's going to be very funny.
All right. Well, we live on a happy note. Count Chocula, everyone. I don't know
Count Chocula.
what we're talking about. Clap for Count Chocula.
Frankenberry.
Look,
The blueberry.
We traded ideas today. This was brave. This is not something people do often in the space. People usually stay undoxed behind their Twitter profiles, just mudslinging from their dark rooms. We got up here in public. We hashed it out. Your mind has expanded. Your mind has expanded. Everyone's mind has expanded. We're better for it. Let's shake hands and get the hell off the stage.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Chains, do some ready to rumble things. Get us off here.
No, I'm not going to do that. My throat still hurts from before that panel, like 2 hours ago. Sonia, thank you so much. Carrie, thank you. Ben and Adam, that was awesome. Again, the space needed it. It wasn't a rumble. It was not a rumble, which nobody wanted anyway. But again, anybody that was here, if you're watching on a stream, you're watching here live, this is the most important thing that happens here in Web3 is that, look, there was a shitty situation that happened, and look, they sat down on the same stage a couple days later and talked about it. Yeah, what's your question, Adam?
You have my phone?
No, it's my phone now.